Hi there, you're in the Uniswap Wyckoff session. So over the past week we looked at the Wyckoff stage in terms of a weekly chart and also the relative support and resistance levels. Currently, or like today's session, we're going to add in a new element. It's the Wyckoff on a daily chart. So let's start. Here in the weekly, we know we had the automatic rally and the price kept trying to come up. So this wasn't really, like, you can say it's a second test. However, when we look at these green bars, it seems like there's quite a bit of change of hands over here that happened over the past 6 weeks. And currently the volume has gone down a little, and it's like it's not, as of this moment in time, we're midweek. Not exactly midweek, but almost 3 days has passed. The price seems to have found support around this pink line over here at around $7.20. We talk about this resistance lines, but it's trying to stay around this line. It's not breaking it at around $7.40, but it's like somebody is pushing it out at the bottom. So we see this long wick. The line isn't very helpful. Let's enlarge it and try again. I'm talking about this wick, and somebody seems to be pushing it up from the bottom. So the point I'm trying to get to is, if this is a very short accumulation cycle, let's say we're seeing a sign of strength now, which is possible because the one over here wasn't very long either. The one back in 2024, from the low point, July to the ending of the accumulation, October, that's only around 3 months, I guess. Let's take a quick look. 91 days, so yes, close to 3 months. Currently, at the low point to where we are now, we're already 112 days. So it's possible that another surge may come. So let's keep an eye on this one. That's the macro perspective, looking at this increasing volume. And in terms of resistance, we talked about this already. The blue line is the immediate support at around $5. If the price does go above this pink resistance, there would be another one, may not be very strong, at around $9.30. $9.30. Let's try to draw with this, but it looks ugly, isn't it? So 9.30, and then eventually there's $13.50. The next support below the blue, it's around $3.80. So those are the four support and resistance lines. If we go to the daily, the trend, the upward trend is still continuing. We talk about this triangle, right? Either the price breaks the pink resistance, or it returns and tests the support over here. We're getting very close to this triangle here. So we'll see some breakthrough in the very near term, probably in 2 weeks' time. And now comes to the fun thing. We're going to add the Wyckoff text to the daily chart. But one warning is, whatever happening in the daily chart, whatever mini Wyckoff pattern we observed, is still governed by the higher level timeline at the weekly. So the daily chart, whatever fluctuations we have, is going to be restrained by the higher level timeline. So keep that in mind. This bigger one controls the smaller ones. So let's start with, I have to borrow something, yeah, from here. Let's change the color to red. So let's start with buying climax, similar to the other coins or Bitcoin. So I have to zoom in real big this time. This one is very tiny. Let's say we have just gone through the buying climax in June, and then we are seeing, let's say that was the selling climax. Yeah, it's going to be very noisy and very packed in terms of the stages, so that's why it's not an ideal situation to use Wyckoff in a timeline that's lower than the weekly. However, for the fun or like discussion purpose, let's draw that in. So that's where it is now, and I just want to try to draw that the other selling climax as well. It's not easy to locate where it is. I have to check the craziest period, and then eventually when it comes down. So yeah, that's probably where it is. That maybe, or that looks like it's a preliminary support, and that's where the selling climax was. And obviously we had, after the selling climax, the automatic rally. And there was another test, or you can call it a spring. You can call it second test. I just name it a test just to make it easier. So you see these green candles, right? This bunch of green candles, that I would consider the sign of strength happening. Consecutive purchase, and eventually some kind of last test or backup or last point of supply, or whatever you like to, last point of support, depending on how you like to call them. You can just call them tests, and then boom, it went up. However, it wasn't the buying climax. Well, somebody would consider this a buying climax and consider this an upthrust. That's totally fine. However, you probably have a very short preliminary supply period if that's the case. I would look at it in a way that we have like high frequent activities. I consider this entire period PSY to make it easier. And then finally, this buying climax, selling climax, and here I would say it was an automatic rally. So at this point in time, this big green candle over here, if there are subsequent green candles, we can comfortably assume that this may be a sign of strength, but not yet. We're not there yet, because there can be some more tests coming. Just like this one. This was actually another test, this red bars. So we don't know at the time being. So it's better to put a second test here. So if it comes back down, because I talked about this triangle, right? Then we will see more tests. So we see multiple tests in the past. This can be as well. So that's the daily Wyckoff. Hope you like it, and it adds a little bit